This motor is a Bitzer motor. It was made up of all odd parts, and one of the problems with it is it has low oil pressure at low revs. And I kind of did okay on the track. I was really pushing it hard, and I glanced down. It was registering oil pressure up the hill, so that's okay. On the way home, the oil pressure dropped off to nothing. With it running constant high speed, I think when a lot of the oil gets up into the engine, it diminishes it in the oil pan, and with all the problems it's got with low oil pressure, I kind of limped home and I stopped at a service area and bought some oil and put some oil in. I just drove it home nice and gentle, and that's how it is now. That's how I parked it last night. Hello, welcome to Mart's garage. I just took the engine out of the sedan. Didn't have any problems getting it out, and I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do, but I've dried the oil out in preparation for taking the oil pan off. I'm going to have a look, see if there's any obvious reason why the oil pressure should be very low. In my mind, I'm thinking I might change the cam bearings, but to be honest, that is quite an intrusive job. You know, it's a long way into the engine, isn't it? I'm not sure if I want to do that much work. I will tip it upside down and have a look inside. I might try fitting a different oil pump. Maybe that will make a difference. Anyway, let's have a look and see what I find when I tip it upside down. Okay, back in a bit. Here's the engine on the engine stand. Now, this engine is a Bitzer engine. These main caps came off a different engine. That one and that one. This one is from this engine. It all looks pretty nice actually underneath this motor. This engine was bought in pieces, and I just fitted the pistons and rings that came with it. I think it was sleeved. Yeah, it's been sleeved. Yeah, them are sleeves, aren't they? Yep, sleeved. I'm not sure, but I think it's at 30 thou. Now, the cam is a 59A. The lifters are French, and the valves are French, and all of the lifters had to be shortened. It's just a good stock Plodder. Okay, right, there's the oil pump. It is the type with the taller gears. You know, the filter isn't clogged up. It doesn't have an O-ring in that position there, which might be something that would help. When I looked at an engine before that had poor oil pressure, I changed the cam bearings. But I just don't know if, you know, how do you work out if this would benefit from cam bearing change? How can you tell? Right, so okay, I'm not going to make a decision, but I'm kind of leaning towards I'm not going to do anything with this. It works, it runs okay. It'll be a big job to change the cam bearings. Bigger than I'm prepared to take on at the moment. I mean, you know, you just look at this, there's nothing at all wrong with it, is there? Nothing at all. It just hasn't got a lot of oil pressure. Yeah, it don't rattle. It's not like it's all worn out. It's old, it is probably worn, but it's not worn out. Right, can I point out a couple of things? Can you see from this angle, there's a hump there. This metal has been bowed down, and I think this motor was the subject to like a little bit of freeze thaw action. Because when I put it together quite late in the day of putting it together, oh look, it's a diamond block. That means nothing. When I was putting it together, I found a crack here, and I used some of those nickel rods and I welded it, and this is a smear of JB Weld over the surface here, but that was welded there. I did that, like, you know, like cold welding. I had a motor that behaved like this, and I swapped the oil pump for that type of oil pump, and I changed the cam bearings. Oh, and I put O-rings on it as well. Righto, anyway, a quick look-see underneath this motor. It looks in good condition, doesn't it? I mean, I was thrashing this up the hill at Prescott last weekend, or 2 weekends ago. I might limit my investigations to just changing the oil pump, or maybe even just having a look at that oil pump, because on the other engine, that is the type of pump I put in. There's the oil pan. Yeah, there's nothing unwanted in there. There's nothing ominous or anything. Nothing bad. Just an old slugger of a motor, isn't it? Just an old slugger. Okay, righto. Back in a bit. I have looked at the oil pump, and it is the type with the tall gears. So what I've done is I've lapped this a bit on a piece of wet and dry on my surface table, surface plate, and I've lapped this as well. You could see quite a dark area here and there and here, as if there was leakage here. There might still be, I don't know, but anyway, nonetheless, I've done that, and I'm going to bolt it back together, and I'll put some O-rings in there as well, in the hope that that might stop leakage at that point there. So that's, oh, and I will take that screen off and clean it. So I'm going to clean that screen, reassemble it up, and then I will see how I feel. I might put it back in the car so I can give it a run round just to prove that it's okay, and then I'll pull the motor again and fit the other one, but I might not bother and just fit the other motor. Anyway, I'll get it back in one piece, get the oil pan back on, and then I'll make my decision what I want to do. Okay, I'll bring you back when there's more to show. I just looked more carefully at this, and this thing here appeared to be bent up, and this was sticking out quite a bit, and when I put this on, that was pressed hard against this area here. In other words, it would have only been trying to pick up from a very small area of this. If that particular area happened to be clogged, it might have had a job picking up. And what I've just done is I've kind of bent this down. I don't really know if I were to try and bend that up a bit. I don't know, to be honest. I've bent this down so that this isn't pressed hard against the bottom there. I'm going to clean this again and have another look. But as this goes in here, like that, I want to make sure that that pickup bit, which you can't really see, yeah, I need to look in more detail, and I'll kind of have a look and see if I can document what I've done. Okay, here I have O-ring assortment, and there I have fitted 3 O-rings of that size there, and it says there R15. I tried to fit 2 of those R20, but I couldn't get it to close down. Really, you want a single ring, but with a bigger diameter of the O-ring. You can't put 2 of those on. I don't think one would seal. R15 is 7/8 by 332, and there's 3 of those on it. And I'm going to just possibly, yeah, no, that looks okay. Yeah, I think it looks okay. And I have just put it in place, and you can ring it in, and I'll show you that. Put a bit of oil on it. See, that's standing up now, but if you press on it like that, yeah, that's down now, you see. That's gone in, and it doesn't pop out. Oh, it's good to put the gasket in before you do that. Maybe I'll do that actually. Yeah. Okay, well, I've just proven that it sits down flat. Off camera, I will take it out again. I will put the gaskets in place and refit it, but I've just showed you that 3 of those O-rings, one of those sets there isn't expensive, and they're very good, you know, use them for lots of things, and that fits. So I will make it a little bit easier for myself. I'll take this out and fit the gaskets and reassemble it up. Okay, I've reassembled this. I've cleaned all this gauze, fitted this. It does seat down or up, if you like, to this canister, and the pickup piece in there is in mid-air. It's not against the screen there, so hopefully there should be a decent area of oil to pick up instead of it all being concentrated on one little spot. Right out. I'll bring it back when there's more to show. I think the middle of the oil pan is pressing up on the oil filter gauze, so I'm going to try and deepen the middle of the pan. This pan's got a lot of dents in it. I think it's been pretty well smashed in over the years. I think I've tried to straighten it at some point, but I think it needs a little bit more clearance in the area where the oil filter pickup sits. I'm going to use my copper mallet, not because it's copper, but because it's heavy. Just by feeling that, I can now feel that that is clear of the base. So I'll go with that. That's that plate that I made to when I was working on the baffle on the other oil pan. Yeah, that'll be okay. You got the thickness of the gasket as well to go. So I think this is all ready to be reassembled up now. I've cleaned this out, it was quite sludgy. I'll give it another clean and put it all back together. Like I say, this is only what I call a plodder motor. It's not a racing engine. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but you can see that that pickup is now clear of the gauze thing. Okay, righto. See you in a bit. I've taken this piece off and I've kind of dollied that a little bit because it was kind of rocking on some high spots. And I've cleaned it all. I'm going to put some sealant there and kind of just splodge it in place and put some bolts through. But I'm going to use nylock washers so that there's some sort of element of sealing. Yeah, I don't expect it to be perfect, but it might be better than it was. From what I could see, this was a source of leaks. Right. Okay. I can't put this on because I haven't put the oil pump on yet, but I've got the gaskets in place. So I'll put the oil pump on, I'll put this on, I'll button it up, and that'll be it. Okay, I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Well, that went. It's gone, isn't it? What I find is if you offer a bolt in and reach down and grab the exhaust and pull it up and down, it'll rotate it and then it'll slip in as it aligns. Okay, I've only got the top two bolts in, so I'm a bit reluctant to let it put the whole weight on. Still got the jack under the middle. Righto, I will. I'll put a couple of more bolts in, and I'll let it down on the mounts then. But being able to wobble it around, I think helps. In this instance. In another car it might be different, but you might, want to do something different. Okay. Righto, anyway, the motor's back in. I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Okay, let's have a little round up then. The motor's running nice. It's a little bit up and down actually. I might have a fiddle with the idle. That repair down there appears okay. Can't see any oil leaking from there. So that's good. The oil pressure is reading 0, but judging by the condition of the engine, that doesn't appear to be a problem. It's 0 psi, but there's plenty of flow, splashing oil all around everything. So you know, if the engine's loose, there's lots of oil throwing all off the bearings, isn't there? Right, okay, so, and when I was driving along on the motorway, it was up between the 15 and the 20 there. So that's an improvement, because it was reading like that when I was trying to drive back from Gow. So I can report a partial success. So let's turn it off. Turn the fan off as well. Yeah, so yeah, so for what it took, which is you know, it's still the same oil pump. I just put couple of 3 O-rings on it, and I altered the oil pickup very slightly. Oh, I just realised why the idle might be a little bit erratic. Look, I haven't tightened the inlet manifold where I've had the engine hoist on. So there might be a little vacuum leak there. Okay. Right, so I think I just felt a spot of rain. So yeah, I'm going to put the car in the garage. Wonder how much you have to increase the idle by to get a little bit of pressure at idle. That's actually reading pressure, isn't it? Just slightly off idle. Okay, I'm going to turn it off now. That's about 400 RPM according to this really crap rev counter. Right, I'm going to turn it off. Watch, see if the needle moves. Yeah, it did. Okay, right. I think one of the conclusions is that although it reads 0, it's come down to 0, and it only takes a few revs to bring it off 0. What I'm trying to say is the oil pump is providing oil all around the system, and it's all splashing out here and there, and it's splashing out to such a degree that it can't register actually any pressure, but there is flow, because it only takes a few revs just to increase the flow enough to create pressure. Yeah, that's okay, I think. Back in a bit. Hello. Oh, what's that saying? That is registering some pressure, I think. Okay. Right, I'll turn the engine off. Yeah, Great. Brilliant. Okay, good. Right, that's really good actually, because I've just driven back from Gaydon, which is about 25 mile, possibly more, at sort of 65 mile an hour all the way. A proper banzai run. It's not a lot of revs, but it's, you know, it's quite fast for a old car like this. You know, the car's 90 years old, and it had oil pressure all the way home. That's about 2,100 revs all the way back, non-stop. And I just had to stop down the road because of some traffic lights, and I've just pulled into the garage, and as you heard it idling there, it's registering a small amount of pressure. So I would say that my repair to the oil pump, just those very small mods, has made a difference, and I would call that a repair a success. I enjoyed my little trip to Gaydon. I've got some footage from Gaydon. I've got some footage of the XJ13, which is a superb car. You need to Google it. Lots of interest in the car, and as you can tell, I'm a little bit hyped up from driving back. The car has performed brilliant, never missed a beat, had plenty of oil pressure all the way with, you know, 2,000 revs on. It was all, not tons of oil pressure, but 20 psi, fully warmed, you know, 10 psi per 1,000 revs, you think? So, yeah, that's good, isn't it? Okay, great. Volvo box overdrive, fantastic, brilliant. You know, I'd still be on the drive now if I didn't have the overdrive, because I'd only be doing 50 instead of 65. Okay, righto, let's call it good at that then. So that's a good conclusion to the oil pump repair, and a good run out in the car to Gaydon for the Gaydon Gathering September. Okay, thanks for joining me in Mart's Garage then. Hope you found something interesting. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.